Welcome to our basketball coaching class presented by Basketball Immersion and Lucio Sports, where we provide a platform for top basketball coaches to dive deep into the details. We are excited to have Boston University Associate Head Coach Mike Quinn in the basketball coaching class. Quinn is entering his sixth season with Boston University men's basketball staff and first as Associate Head Coach. Quinn served as an assistant coach or director of basketball operations previously at Dartmouth, Stonehill, Fordham, and George Mason. Mike, welcome to the basketball coaching class.
Thanks for having me, Chris. Excited to be here.
Excited to have you on. And this is a topic that I know a lot of people are going to dive into, weak side action, talking about this versus man and versus zone a little bit as well. And Mike, why don't we get started first of all with kind of the importance of this to your program there at Boston University?
Yeah, I think when we started texting and talking about hopping on here, we had just finished up the season and started diving in and breaking down our offense from this past year. And I think everybody is always looking to how can we find a way to get our guys better shots, right? How can we increase our shots at the rim, open threes, getting to the free throw line? And there's not really much of a better shot than an uncontested catch and shoot layup off of a cut. So that was something we started looking at and started breaking down. And I thought 2 years ago, we actually were a pretty good cutting team and scored a pretty high rate. This year, we weren't quite as good. So I wanted to see why we weren't as effective and what we can do this spring, summer, heading into next season to improve upon that and find a way to get, as we're all looking for, some more easy buckets.
I love these off-season projects by coaches like yourself. They add so much value to all of us, especially when you share some of the findings. So why don't we dive in, share some of the video, and share some of the concepts you're looking at.
Great. As you start to break down your weak side action, and that can come off of just straight penetration, middle or to the baseline, or off of a side ball screen, whether it be an empty side ball screen or a double side ball screen. So you've got two on the wing, and so you got a wing and corner filled, or you've got three on that side spaced. And then how you want to attack it and the different ways you can do it, right? You can keep them spaced. You've created an advantage. You're holding your space and you got good shooters out there. You're going to play off that advantage, play off that closeout, which I think everybody has that within their offense. And then a couple other ways to attack it is you can screen on the weak side, down screens, flare screens, all great options, and you can cut. We've talked about it a lot. And we would love to be great at all three, right? If you could be elite at all three, that would be fantastic. You're really hard to guard. You're hard to prep for. I think it's really hard to be good at all three, especially with the screening and cutting that those guys know on the weak side. If you're just flowing and they're making reads, which one they're going to do, how to be effective with all of it. We do try to focus a little bit more on one. And we've decided that cutting is going to be the one we're going to focus on a little more than screening. And for the reason being, a lot of teams will switch weak side screens, so you may not create as much an advantage. And cutting, usually you've got two options there, two guys, the cutter and then the spacer looking to score. So we focused more on cutting the last few years. And some questions that you can consider on that weak side. Do you want to cut more along the baseline and drift to the corner? Do you want a 45 cut from that wing and hold the corner or lift the corner? And a lot of that could depend on how the defense is guarding you. We found if you stress one a little bit more, you get good at that. Instead of trying to be good at a multitude of things, can we get really good at one and then build off of that?
I just want to reemphasize, Mike, I love that concept of doing the cutting versus the screening on the weak side. And that's evolved certainly over the last 10, 15 years in basketball. And in addition to the switching, your players are not ready to shoot as much on the weak side, where it's more likely if one player cuts, the other one's holding space, ready to be able to be a catch and shoot shooter. And then we know that's what the game's about nowadays as well.
Absolutely. Like you said, when you've got the cutting, there's two scoring options, right? You're trying to get a layup at the rim, easy layup at the rim, or that inside out three with their feet set. So anytime you've got a cutting, you've got both of those options there. And with the screening, again, it can be really effective, especially if you've got an elite shooter. But the other reason we moved more towards cutting versus screening is we want to put pressure on that rim with the cutting as well. So again, just things you can consider as a staff as you're looking at it. If you're driving the ball middle versus driving the ball baseline, does that change how you're going to cut off the weak side? And it does for us. And then is it read based or is it personnel based? And this is something we've gone back and forth with depending on the team. Do you have certain guys who aren't great shooters and you want them to be the cutters more? Or is it we're a baseline cut and drift and everybody's going to be looking to make those decisions when they're there? And again, I don't have the right answer. I think that's per team, looking at your personnel, but things to look at. And then again, you've got the double side or the triple side on that weak side. Does that change how you're cutting? So all things to consider, all things to discuss. We'll certainly show you how we attacked it. And then how are you going to get really good at that? Some guys are just have a feel for it, right? They see a guy's head turn and they go and they're great at it. But how can you help your team make those reads and make those decisions? And Chris, I've watched a ton of what you put up here and how you're trying to teach and implement and forcing guys to make decisions when you're breaking it down and drilling it. And I'll show you as we're going through the film some of the ways we do it. We can just freeze it and show it how we do it. But you can put them in advantage drills, 2-on-1, 3-on-2, 4-on-3. We'll do advantage with the chaser, so the guy guarding the ball is coming behind him. And again, just trying to make those reads, because in the cutting, it's got to be everybody, right? The ball handler's got to see it. The cutter's got to make the read. When's a good time to go? And then whoever else is on that weak side's got to play off the cut to find space. So they've got to be seeing a lot of things happening in real time. So breaking it down with no defense could be good for the conceptual, just so they understand it. But then they've got to read that defense, and you got to be putting them in that situation a good amount. And then in practice, if we want to make that a major focus, we'll just give extra points for it. So guys are thinking about it when we're playing live. Hey, if you get a back cut layup off the weak side, that's +5 today when we're playing. And then, of course, you can break it down in film. And then questions I'm always thinking about. So anybody watching this that has got a definitive answer, please reach out to me. Can you get really good at multiple cutting options within your offense? And then can you add screening as an additional option and still be really good with cutting? Something we have not been able to figure out how to be elite at both yet, but always looking at it and see if there's any way to get better at it.
Love that learning approach, and can't wait to see some of your findings here with the video.
So here we go. We'll show some clips from the last couple years. So we call the baseline cut a Marion cut. So if a guy's driving middle, we look to Marion cut and drift from that weak side. So here we get it up in transition. Again, this can come off a ball screen or just penetration. And then you see our guy Ethan Okuwosa in the corner here. He does a good job getting all the way to the corner. And we talk about, and we'll work on this, if your guy is up the line and he's staring at the ball, great opportunity to cut. Great opportunity to cut. And you can see this is one of the breakdowns we'll do just as a warm-up for our guards is transition. I'll hit ahead to our guard right here. They're driving that ball to the middle of the floor. And then we'll have a coach in number 0 spots right here. So the coach will be at number 0 and he can be recovering out. And then we're looking to finish at the rim. He could be really helping low, and then maybe you hold your space. Or he could be up the line, and now that's a great time to back cut him and look for that Marion cut for a layup.
A great example of just adding a defender in some context, so they have to perceive and decide before they execute. That's great, Mike.
Absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, it's, again, watching a ton of your stuff, and especially the way that cutting works. If we just come down and we rep it, then you don't get the reads because you got to read that defender. You got to read how he's guarding you. Is it better to hold your space? Is it better to cut? And you got to give the guys those triggers within your breakdowns. So again, an early drag ball screen here. We attack middle. And then again, you can see on the weak side there, we get a Marion cut. Pull it back here. You get a Marion cut. And the thing we would like there is on that Marion cut is this wing guy to drift, to give space. So again, a way we can break this down Right now, what we'll do at times, let's get rid of the ball screen for right now, and we'll just do this 3-on-2. So we'll put this guy with the ball, 2 defenders here, and now they've got to read. So he's driving the ball middle. Does this top man plug at the nail? Then maybe we can hold our space. If these guys are really both standing in the paint and we can just create an advantage off a kick, great. If he's up the line, as we talked about, great time to cut. And we tell this guy, call that cut. So call the Marion cut, and that triggers a drift. So we can break that down 3-on-2, or we'll add a chaser. So we'll put our defender exactly where number 14 right here is. So we're at an advantage, and he's driving the ball, and these defenders can stunt and stay. They can come and plug. We've got to read and play off of that.
Love those examples. Can you just clarify, maybe for all of us that are listening, when you mean call the cut, are they literally verbalizing it?
Yeah, so they'll call Marion.
Yeah.
So as soon as they see this guy's head turn and he's up the line, they'll call Marion, and then he's drifting to that corner. So now our ball handlers reads, you can get all the way to the rim, go score. This guy steps up, or he's staring at the ball. We throw that bounce pass behind. If we got a big time athlete, maybe we can throw that to the rim. Or this guy plugs aggressively at the nail. He's Marion cutting, he's drifting to the corner. Now see that skip to the corner, and we're causing a recovery closeout and trying to get those feet set threes that we're talking about. So again, we're looking for the rim on the Marion cut, the back cut from the corner, or we're looking for that corner kick out and play off that advantage.
Beautiful. Let's keep going.
So you'll see on this next clip now, we're playing a little bit, get to the zoom action. Again, Marion cut, he's staring at the ball. We get it there. It's actually the next clip you'll see we'll hit the drift. Hit, we follow it. So this is a big play for us. And we talk to our guys. Obviously, if that corner guy's high and you can back cut and steal a layup, that's what we're looking for, as you saw in the last few clips. But we also tell them it's not always going to be for you. Sometimes we just want to break the other team's shell. If you guys are just standing in your spots, that's how everybody practices ball screen defense. Teams get pretty good at it. So sometimes you're going to look to Marion cut just to open up that drift and open it up for your teammate. It's not always going to be for you, but now finish your cut, and we're looking for this shot or create this recovery closeout, and now we're driving that closeout. So
such a beautiful example just of changing shapes, right? Just changing shapes in your offense, so it's not always this one shape all the time. What a great example.
Yeah, absolutely. The defenses get really good at guarding ball screens, and if you're keeping it, certain teams are great at it, and if you never move them around and create an advantage, it gets difficult to get downhill, to get to the rim, to get what you're looking for there. So that's one way of doing it. Looks like it popped back on me there. Let me clip ahead. So that's on middle drives. On middle drives, we stress looking for that Marion drift, that baseline cut. You get an alley drive here, so a middle ball screen. We say the same thing. Look for that Marion freeze. You can see how high they're playing in the lane there, up the lane there. You see his head turn. You see the back of his head. Let's look for that Marion cut and see if we can get this guy going to the rim. Obviously, there's no drift there on the single side, but again, you're looking for steal a layup or finish your cut, get out, and we're flowing. And now on a baseline drive, we do change what we're looking for there. We look to 45 cut on a baseline side versus a Marion cut. So we'll get to a baseline drive here. They're playing a little bit. Don't have anything. We respace. Fuse the ball screen. So now what we're looking for on that baseline drive is you got the corner filled, so you've got a drift. If we're 5 out, this guy should be coming behind. We call it a Canada cut, so he's looping behind the ball. And then top of the key should really be holding his space here. So we've got corners filled, top of the key, and then 45 cut on that weak side. And the reason we like the 45 versus Marion is just like Navy did here. Usually teams are going to rotate or help sink to the corner And now this guy's guarding too. So if he's sinking to the corner, we can 45 cut that and look to steal a layup. If he commits to the 45 cut, now we've got shooter in the corner open. So again, looking for those uncontested cutting layups or inside out feet set threes. And again, those are the things we stress. Number 5 cuts there from the top of the key. He's not wrong. These aren't definitive hard rules for us, but these are the things that we work on the most and stress the most. Again, you get a baseline drive, Canada cut behind, top of the key, corner filled, and look for that 45 cut.
And there's your 3-on-2 drill.
There,
You can
exactly.
see it's a perfect 3-on-2 situation on the weak side.
Yep. So the thing we'll do too, so we talked about that drive middle. Another drill we'll do is that we can do this 4-man or 3-man, but we might just have number 1 here defending, his back turned to 22 staring at the rim. I stole this from one of yours. I saw somebody do this on before. And now he can drive. Let's say we're doing it 3-on-0. So you've got wing and corner filled. He can drive baseline or middle. Now our guy's got to read off of that. And then maybe we add a 4th guy in there. And now you got to read off of that penetration, not knowing if it's a middle or baseline drive. And now they've got to read in space and play off of that penetration.
Yeah, 3-on-1 penetration reaction. It's on our YouTube channel. And what Mike has just done to it is added cutting, which is a perfect constraint. Beautiful.
All right, we'll get to the next one here. So now we've got the triple side. One thing we'll look for off that on the triple side is look to 45 cut that as well. So on the double side, we talked about looking to Marion and drift. On the triple side, just like you just saw on the baseline drive, even on a middle drive, we like to send that 45 cut through. And we don't score off that cut as much, but this is where you can maybe integrate some screening into it, is maybe you cut to screen. So 30 is going to cut right here, and you see they're holding their back man. Now, can you just turn that into a quick rub screen while you're going by, or actually stop and set it? Obviously, if you're open, cut for a layup, but this is where you may be able to add some screening and still be a really good cutting team. We call it just cut to screen. You're cutting to score. If you're cutting into your teammate's defender, turn it into a screen. Now you see the ball handler's read. He looks at the 45 cut. 2 go with him. Quick skip. Looking inside out 3 or attack that closeout. And again, same breakdown that we talked about before. You can do that with these guys. And then now we do it off of a pocket. Same thing, we treat that like a baseline drive, triple side here. And we can do this, again, breakdown we'll do is sometimes we'll have the coach just throw it in there. And now you've got 3 on the weak side and you're playing off of it. So now they 45, read the skip, kick and play. So triple side, we try to stress the 45 cut. Double side, we look to stress that Marion cut. And then how can we build it into our zone offense too? This is something we've tried to start incorporating more the last couple of years. It's not as clean maybe as the man, but you get the ball into the hot spot, we call it, get into the middle of the zone as everybody's trying to do. And especially if we go our 5 out, so we're 4 out with somebody in the middle of the zone, great time to cut a zone. Great time to cut a zone. The baseline cut is open on the weak side here because everybody else is lifted. You see we steal a layup there.
So essentially what you're teaching versus man, it applies to zone, and it doesn't really require new teaching. It's just connecting it for them to say this is the same.
Absolutely. So we're still saying, hey, you know, on that double side, we looked at Marion drift. If we catch it, if you look back on this one, if we catch it at that elbow and you got a weak side, just like it's just like the man weak side, right? So this could be a middle penetration or just catching it at the elbow versus the hot spot. Let's look to Marion and drift off that on the weak side, and then you're playing off of it.
And a catch on a short roll, a catch on a roll, a catch in the middle of the zone, it's akin to a dribble penetration. It's the same result, and you treat it the same.
Exactly. It's all paint penetration. You can do that off the drive. You can do that off the pass. Ball gets there. Now let's play off of it. And again, we're stressing that Marion drift on the triple side. We're stressing that 45. But if the guys ever read, they're on a triple side and they're in the corner and their dude staring at the ball and they want to go, you've got the freedom to go make a play. We want you to be basketball players in it. But if you stress it a little bit more, you seem to score off it a little bit more. If you stress everything, sometimes they just don't read it as well. They don't see it as well. So it's that fine balance of giving them the freedom and then finding the things that you're going to be good at, that you know you can score off of within your offense.
That's such a great point. Do you find early in the year you have to cue them a little bit more, but then gradually as they start to balance it and figure it out, it becomes less and less structured and more freedom?
Yeah, absolutely. Earlier in the year, we'll do breakdowns like we've talked about, just 3-on-2, driving that ball, looking for your Marion drifts. 4-on-3, you're looking on that weak side. We're stressing in those moments like, hey, we're going to Marion drift these for the next 2 minutes every single time. Okay, now read the defense for 2 minutes. Is the defense, are you reading the back of the head and cutting? Or is it better to space off of this one? So we'll tell them that they're doing it, and now they build off and say, okay, now you're going to read off this a little bit more. Again, you get the ball to the middle of the floor, like a middle drive, double side here. He's going to Marion cut out of that corner. We're going to drift from the wing, looking for those catch and shoot threes. Now we get the ball to the middle again, triple side here, 45 cut and play. And that's just a great read by those guys there.
And really effective example of cutting to space, not to spots, which is, again, a modern approach to how we're coaching as we're focused rather than.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then last clip here, catch it on the baseline. Like we talked about on the triple side on the baseline, we like on baseline drives. We like the 45 cut. Just like you just said on that pass, it's a paint penetration. It's just off of a pass. 45 cut, find the space. Great patience in the paint, great play.
Such a great example to highlight everything, including your questions about what can you do with multiple cutting options? What can you do if you had screening and cutting at the same time, different things like that. So just an excellent example of those different things in action. And to be honest, Mike, not that complicated really, is it?
No, it's not. It can be if you make it, right? If you're trying to do everything, if you're trying to, all right, on a double side, we're going to baseline cut and drift. We're going to 45 and hold. We're going to screen. We're going to flare. It can get confusing then about, all right, when do I do that? Why do I do that? Where if you're a little bit cleaner with, okay, we're going to space, we're going to look to cut. This is how we look to do it off a double side. This is what we like to do on a middle drive versus baseline drive. They pick that up pretty quickly and they get pretty good at that. And some guys quicker than others. Some guys are just great cutters and they'll get it quickly. But if you build in some of these breakdowns, they really start to see it pretty quickly. And then, as you said, now they can start to read the game. Do I cut to screen on this one? Or am I cutting to score because nobody came with me and I've got to open one? So just putting them in that situation, giving them some direction, and then letting them play and read off of it.
So, Mike, you've been 15 years in the coaching profession. This was a tremendous resource that you just created for so many of us. Thank you so much for sharing with us. 15 years in, obviously doing a great job with Coach Jones and the staff there. Talk to us a little bit about your goals as a coach at this point in your career.
Sure. It's funny. I was actually sitting in the Coach Jones office today and he goes, how long you been here? I'm like, wow, 7 years. And he's, man, it goes fast, but we're certainly enjoying our time here. My goals, like a lot of us, I certainly strive to be a head coach one day and run my own program. But I think in the moment, you've got to be grateful for where you are, be where your feet are, find joy in the relationships with the people around you, and find joy in developing yourself as a coach. You can't always control when that opportunity comes. Put yourself in the best position by doing the job you're at to the best of your ability and continuing to push yourself every day and utilizing all of the great tools out there now, this being one of them that I've learned a ton from, and connecting with other coaches, connecting with other mentors, and just trying to find a way to get a little bit better every day. But certainly being grateful for what you got, which This spring, with the coaching carousel going on and all the transfer portal, it can be hard at times. It can be hard, but really trying to stay focused and stay in the moment for where you're at right now. And again, being grateful for the opportunities you have in front of you to continue to improve.
Well, I love that. And gratitude to you for sharing the game with us and sharing this amazing resource for so many coaches. I think it's one of the most common questions I get asked is about how to develop more putting. And this is just a tremendous resource. So, Mike, thank you so much for sharing the game with us.
Oh, thanks for having me, Chris.
Thanks for watching the basketball coach class. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And check out luciosports.com and basketballimmersion.com today.